Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a story about courage, friendship, and survival. Today, we are going to travel to the coldest place on Earth. The year is 1925. The place is Nome, Alaska. Nome is a small town near the Arctic Circle. It is surrounded by ice and snow for most of the year. In January 1925, a terrible tragedy struck the town. Children started to get sick. They had high fevers. They couldn't breathe. The doctor, Dr. Welch, realized with horror that it was diphtheria. Diphtheria is a deadly disease that attacks the throat and lungs. Without medicine, the children would die. The town had a small supply of medicine, but it was expired. It was useless. Dr. Welch sent a desperate telegram to the outside world. "We have an epidemic of diphtheria. We need serum immediately. Help us." The nearest supply of medicine was in Anchorage, over 1,000 kilometers away. But there was a problem, a big problem. A massive blizzard was hitting Alaska. The temperature dropped to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Trains could not travel through the snow. Planes could not fly in the storm because their engines would freeze. The town of Nome was completely cut off. There was only one way to get the medicine. The old way. Sled dogs. The governor decided to set up a relay. 20 mushers, sled drivers, and 150 dogs would carry the medicine package, passing it from team to team like a baton in a race. It was a race against death. The first musher, Wild Bill Shannon, picked up the package at the train station in Nenana. It was night. The temperature was minus 46 degrees. He ran with his dogs into the frozen darkness. He ran for hours. His face started to freeze. His nose turned black from frostbite. But he didn't stop. He couldn't stop. He passed the package to the next musher, and the next. The medicine traveled day and night. Mushers suffered from hypothermia. Dogs collapsed from exhaustion. But the most dangerous part of the journey was still ahead. It was the section crossing the frozen Norton Sound. The ice on the Sound was unstable. It could break at any moment, swallowing the dogs and the sled into the freezing ocean. This dangerous part was given to the most experienced musher, Leonhard Sepala, and his lead dog was a small, unassuming Siberian husky named Togo. Togo was 12 years old. He was considered too old for such a hard trip. He was small, but he had the heart of a lion. Sepala trusted Togo more than anyone. They set off into the storm. The wind was blowing at 100 kilometers per hour. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. They reached the frozen sea ice. Suddenly they heard a loud crack. The ice was breaking up around them. Sepala couldn't see the safe path. But Togo could smell it. Togo could feel it. Togo led the team through jagged ice and open water. At one point, they were stranded on a piece of ice that was floating away. Sepala tied a rope to Togo and threw him across the water to another piece of ice. Togo pulled the entire sled and the team to safety. He saved them all. Togo and Sepala ran for an incredible 420 kilometers. That was the longest and most dangerous part of the relay. By the time they handed the package to the next team, Togo could barely stand. He had given everything he had. The final leg of the relay was supposed to be run by a musher named Gunnar Kassin. His lead dog was a big black husky named Balto. Balto was not famous like Togo. He was a slow, steady dog used for hauling heavy loads. Many people didn't think he was smart enough to lead, but Gunnar believed in him. Gunnar and Balto took the package from the previous team. The storm was now a full-blown hurricane. It was whiteout conditions. Gunnar couldn't even see his dogs in front of the sled. He was blind in the snow. Suddenly, the sled flipped over. The medicine package fell out and disappeared into the deep snow. Gunnar panicked. Without the medicine, everything was for nothing. He took off his gloves and dug frantically in the snow with his bare hands. His fingers were freezing, but he found the box. He put it back on the sled, but he was lost. He didn't know which way was Nome. Then he felt a tug on the line. It was Balto. Balto sniffed the air. He put his head down and started pulling. Balto found the trail when the human couldn't. He led the team through the last 85 kilometers of the storm. At 5:30 a.m. on February 2nd, the people of Nome heard a sound. It wasn't the wind. It was barking. Gunnar, Kassin, and Balto pulled into the main street of Nome. They were covered in ice. They looked like ghosts. The townspeople ran out of their houses. "The serum! The serum is here!" they cried. Dr. Welch took the frozen package. He thawed it out. It was still good. He gave the shots to the sick children. Within hours, the fevers went down. The children started to breathe again. The town was saved. The journey that usually took 25 days was completed in just 5.5 days. It was a miracle. The world celebrated. Balto became a superstar. He was on the front page of every newspaper. A statue of Balto was built in Central Park in New York City. You can still see it today. Under the statue, it says 3 words: endurance, fidelity, intelligence. But the musher community knew the truth. While Balto ran the glorious final leg, it was Togo who ran the longest and hardest part. Togo was the unsung hero. But dogs don't care about fame or statues. They ran because they loved their humans. They ran because it was their job. They ran until their paws bled and their hearts almost stopped. The story of the 1925 Serum Run is not just about medicine. It is about the bond between humans and animals. In the darkest, coldest night when machines failed and hope was lost, it was the beating heart of a dog that saved us. Thank you for listening to this heartwarming story. I hope it makes you hug your pets a little tighter today. See you in the next episode.